Hello folks, LA Little here with TA Today, bringing you neoclassical technical analysis on a regular basis, giving you trading ideas, setups, and thoughts about where this market is and where it's going. Let's get into it. Hey folks, market did kind of what you would think in a way, and that is that it continued to act strong. We had this huge run off of those March lows, and since then, the market's been on a tear. And so, you go straight up, you get your first decent pullback, and what do? They bounce it. Now, question is going to be is, do they make new highs or do they make new lows? Now, we've already made lower lows than we did prior, and we'll see that here in a second. But the real question is, where we go from here. And the chips are going to be the main story. So you can see broad strength across the sectors, advances. What isn't strong? Mega caps, right, got hit, and year to date actually not doing well. That's actually potentially going to be a real problem. If we look at the chips are everything. I mean, look at these gains. These are not small. I mean, look at the gains across all the chip sectors, both the United States, Korea with the memory chips, Taiwan with the fabs, huge, huge gains. I think the issue, this is a cyclical, sector. Eventually there's going to be enough supply to where they, overrun the demand, or they're going to not be able to raise guidance anymore at some point. I don't know which of those is going to happen, but when one of those happens, that's going to be the issue. If the data centers stop growing, in other words, they quit projecting more and more, or the guidance starts to come down, that's when the chips will at least take a break, if not push back the other way. But right now, they've pushed up over those highs that they had, the highs of the lows, the high volume lows, and then that suggests they're going to go test the tops again. If I can look at the other big factors, oil. Now, oil on the Iran deal has come down. This is bearish retest regens. It's back underneath both. Question is going to be, can it pop back up? Is something going to happen to force it back up, or is it going to push down farther? If it pushes down farther, that's going to goose the markets more. It's right at a critical spot if you look at it on the weekly. So this is kind of the do or die. It looks like we're going to sign some sort of a deal. I don't know what's in the deal. Nobody seems to know. It's really just a memorandum of understanding. It's not even a deal. And I suspect the devil's going to be in the details. And I suspect Iran is not going to give Trump any kind of relief. They're going to make it as painful as possible, as long as possible. So I suspect that even if we get a deal, this thing's going to pop down, pop right back up, and that's going to continue to pressure the markets as a result. If you look at the technical side, here's what I was talking about. You got the lower lows on the S&P, right? The question is, you're going to get a lower low on the high. In other words, is it going to come up here and then roll over? That's the issue. If it doesn't, gets back to new highs, well, it's another V shape, right? You're back off to the runs. And so this is, you're coming into the critical spot. At least, now, as we just saw on the SOXX, they've actually gotten over the highs of the lows, right? These two guys. Here, they're coming into them. And so this is going to be the critical trade points, right? Price points this week. And they're going to have to either get over them or not. Here's the numbers. That's the smaller range. And a larger range, here's your numbers. That's what you should be watching this week, right? Can it close over those or not? If it can, it's going to run again. If it can't, we've got some sort of a range. The fact that they got back over the bearish retest regens suggests it's going to be some sort of a choppy range that takes place, right? Back and forth, back and forth. And so that's what I would be looking at. And, the rest of this, not a lot more to say. You had a weekly that closed back over the low of the prior week. That's kind of a bullish signal. So in my best opinion, at this particular point in time, it looks to me like we're just going to trade choppy sideways and decide, is this is this lows going to make lower lows and we're going to make lower highs, or are we eventually going to break out of the top again? That's the question, and it's a range until we do. And I suspect this week will be a range trade. That's where we're at. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Take care.